Thank you, Damien, for the beautiful film After the Long Rains. I watched it a couple of days ago. I was very moved by the loving story and the whole world you created around it. So first of all, how did the idea come about?
Um, the idea was it came from like I had like many different ideas. In 2020, I was in Bungoma in Kenya, and there I learned a lot about the past from my mother, and later on I somehow this influenced the story a little bit, but then also I went to the um to the beach there, and I saw all those fishers, and then I knew maybe I could do a movie with fishers. And then also I had a very good friend in Kenya too, and she was only 12 years old, I think, at that time, and she was like helping her mother a lot. And she also inspired the story. So yeah.
Is that where the character of Aisha was created? Was the girl you met also quite stubborn and had set dreams, or was it just the image of a girl trying to find her way in a family or in the village?
Actually, at first, the girl wasn't like stubborn, or she wasn't like when her mother helped, she didn't complain or something, and that was actually a thing that inspired me or inspired the story a lot. But then, I believe Aisha, when I wrote her, she changed throughout the script, and then when I did cast her again, she changed again. The Aisha I wrote in the script was very childish, a very childish Aisha, and then she who played her, Kache, um, she was already very responsible, a very responsible person also, and she brought this also into the role. Yeah.
All right. And she goes wandering around the village, asking what everyone wants to be when they're older. Is that something that you were wondering about as well when you were that age?
Um. No, no, I never, I never had those thoughts. I
Well,
was
it's clear they
actually,
were going to be a director.
yeah, yeah. I think for me it wasn't clear always, but I always did my movies, and I never like really thought about what I will do in the future. But I thought it would be crazy if I could be a director.
And so you are, because I guess many people don't really know this, but you're quite young and you already have a quite a large filmography as well. If I'm not mistaken, this is your third feature film.
Yeah, yeah,
And would you say
yeah.
that your age, how old are you again? Is it 23?
Um, 22
22.
years
Wow,
old,
it's
but soon I
amazing.
turn 23. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks.
Would you say that the your young age affects how you create a story or make a film as well?
Yes, I think so. The age is also, of course, has a lot to do with how you also see the world sometimes, and it changes every year. Um, but then, yeah, I don't know. I think um, I'm a impatient person, um, and I like doing things, but I don't like to do a pre-production of um, so so that is also influencing the filmography, and also
Yeah.
why it's so big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you switch around from very dynamic images, maybe sometimes with like action cameras, or it seems to be like that. Is that a why did you come about with how the different kind of camera techniques sort of are puzzled together?
Um, Actually, in the past, I remember my very first feature film. There were like complete two styles which were very different from each other, and it didn't really work for me. And with After the Long Rains, I tried to be a little bit more consistent.
Yeah.
um, but then I think what you also mean is, for example, the fish islands, because this one is like very when you see it, it's very um, it pops out and you realize, oh shit, that's a different lens. And I guess the why I used it was because, first of all, I like the look also of the fish islands, and then also I thought like, oh, it's called a fish islands and it's about catching a fish. Then I thought, ooh.
It's a funny connection
Now
between.
I could explain now why I use it. Yeah.
It also sort of enriches the world of a child's imagination, I feel, because
Yeah.
so contrasting all the time. Then they have this impression of an adult and it's more serious, but then when they're with their friends, it's all bright and sunny. So it's fun. I really enjoyed it, how you sort of switch all that in mix together, because it really works.
I also actually I tried, now I just remember I also changed the aspect ratios sometimes in the movie.
Yeah.
And that was actually, I didn't plan this, but then people never knew when we were in the future and when we were in the past. And so I used the aspect ratio to explain this a little bit.
Yeah, you have sort of this like vignette kind of thing for the memories.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also I wanted the past to look more like a memory and the future to be a little bit more desaturated. And also the whole meaning of the aspect ratio, why the future is in 3x4 or 4x3. Why the future is so small is because Aisha couldn't reach her. She couldn't reach, or when she's small, she wants to she has a lot of dreams, and then when she's an adult, she didn't give up on her dreams, but then she's like more limited, not limited, but
yeah. But I think what you mean is she sort of has to grow up in a sense as well, and that whole childish imagination that the whole future is still so open and bright. You try to make it smaller, but then maybe in the end, she sort of finds her path. Again. Yeah,
right.
Because she finds her between all path. The dark clouds and the range, I think she finds her path.
She finds also a way to still follow her dreams, but in a responsible way. And that's where the aspect ratio opens up again, like in the past. Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about the patience that you don't really have yourself, but is that why you sort of try to put in the lesson in the film as well, having to be patient as well?
Yeah, I think that was also like me talking to myself. This whole conflict of being also patient, and also the fisher who needs to fish. He can't wait on land. Like that doesn't have to do anything with patience, but with laziness. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely not lazy in this film, because not only are you the director, but you also wrote the story you told us, and you also shot it. Is that how you like to work? Do you like to do things on your own, or is it just a necessity?
It came from a necessity, but at the moment I kind of like to work that way. I think I can work both ways with the crew, and where I'm just focusing on directing, but then I also have the freedom of just telling a story and do most of the things by myself. And I think when the story needs to when the story needs to be on a bigger scale, I wouldn't shoot that way. But now just like very intimate personal stories, which don't require a very big set, I just can tell them right now, and I don't have to wait. I don't have to be patient.
It's all coming together now. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
So is that also a way for you to be more intimate then with the cast? How did you approach them? Where did you find them?
Definitely, it's like when you shoot that way, you're much more intimate with the cast. It's like a family, and the when I went to Kenya, I didn't had like I didn't knew anybody, except of my auntie at Watamu, and then I shot with my neighbors. I approached my neighbors and I asked them if they knew a little girl who could act, and then even like other roles, also the neighbors took them over, and then together we kept on searching just inside Watamu, but they were just all locals. Yeah.
It sort of explains the really community sense that you feel throughout the film. It's so it is a real community. It's all the people that
Yeah,
actually live there. Like, is a fisherman
yeah.
also a fisherman in real life or not?
No, he isn't. He isn't. No.
There's still some fictionalized parts then. Okay.
What?
There's still some fictionalized parts then. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
that
yeah.
everyone's playing themselves. And I was working
I
with the main actress because she's still young, but I feel she's got quite a weight into her character.
Yeah, she did it very, very, very well. It was crazy. And with her, like throughout it was her very first time acting. And at the beginning, she was also very shy. And it took time, it took patience. But she just got better and better and better. And and yeah, yeah, it was very nice.
Did she see the film already?
Yeah, yeah, she saw it. Um, and yes, I even went three months ago. I was there in Kenya, and then we watched it a second time together. And yes, I mean, during the time while we were shooting, she never read the script in chronologically, and we were kind of shooting chronologically, but then still all over the place. And I think it was only when she watched the movie that she really got the story. Yeah.
That's fun, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the sort of generational gap that you tried to show in the film between the children trying to find their way in the world, but then the parents sort of have a different opinion about that, how emotions are felt or how careers are portrayed. Is that something that you also saw in the village itself?
Now in Watamu, I think it's also there, but now in Watamu, I wasn't inspired by Watamu, but I was inspired by Bungoma, a different village where I lived for half a year in Kenya. And in Bungoma, you really saw the older people really lived a very different life than the youth, and um, and yes, you kind of saw this conflict, and I got inspired there by this to make a movie about this yeah conflict.
Mm-hmm. Something else, but are all your films this personal or so close to you?
Um, no, but I feel like now like throughout the years they get more personal and personal, but also I'm also able to somehow distract myself very good from my own movies. Um, because if it's too personal, I couldn't do a movie about it. So those are most of the times all topics which I manage to distance myself from them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, is there a future project that you're working on? Because you told me before this you're still editing something. Is there a next project coming along?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just editing right now actually. And um yes, it's a movie I shot again at the same place in Kenya with the same people. She has also a part in it, a very little part, but still. Um and it's a completely different movie. It's like a mockumentary
Yeah.
from the future. Yeah.
Okay, from the future, some futuristic elements then, or
Yeah, it's a future where they banned certain kind of technology, and so it's more very like a old school future where kingdoms come back and there are kings, princesses.
Wow. Like you almost created your own theater company itself in that village now. I'm really excited to see the next film. I'm glad you got everyone together again, the whole band.
Yeah, even though
Cool.
this time we shot on a we even shot on a smaller scale than before. Since it's a mockumentary, you don't have um to make like very sophisticated shots, or you just can shoot people. It's very easy. It was very easy, yeah.
Okay. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Damien, for this interview. Uh,
Yeah, thank you too.